Welcome to your favorite bookish podcast, Fully Booked and Caffeinated. I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Heather.
And today we will be discussing and reviewing Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. As usual, let's talk about our fuel for this discussion. What are you drinking, Heather?
Oh man, I texted you today about my coffee disappointment. Woe is me, unfortunately. I went to Starbucks and I got the iced white chocolate mocha, and it just does not hit like my caramel brulee does. And I'm so upset that it's gone for the season. The one thing that brought me joy in the coffee world has now gone away. So now I'm big sad.
No more joy for you.
No more joy for me. Although I've been playing around with my Nespresso, and that's been fun.
Okay, there you go. So a small spark of joy.
Yeah, I tried to make a latte the other day, and it came out okay, but I put too much, oat milk and creamer in it, so that it just tasted like not coffee.
Gotcha.
I was like, all right, well, this was trial and error. They're free pods. They were gifted, so it's not like, wasting my money. Now is the time to experiment with all these gifted pods.
Oh, definitely.
And they're so good.
Pods aren't cheap.
No, and they're from 2021, but they're doing great.
They're doing great. I tried a new coffee shop this weekend. I went to Alchemy Coffee in Flemington, and it is home of the goth latte, apparently. Ooh. I didn't get a goth latte, but I did get a t-shirt that says, what does it say? Something about coffee and dying. I don't know. It was very appropriate. It has a skeleton on it. Anywho, I got their winter latte, which is just a delicious latte with their homemade brown sugar syrup and cinnamon and some other stuff and pine needles. I was like, can I taste the pine needles? She's like, no.
What?
I don't. She's like, I don't know why that's on there. I was like, okay. But anyway, it was delicious.
Okay.
And then I went with my friend Allison. She got a toasted marshmallow latte.
Oh God, that sounds amazing.
Yes, she loved it, but she got it iced instead of hot. And they're like, oh, okay, no problem. We just don't usually bring out the whole torch and stuff and torch the marshmallows. I was like, you were going to bring a torch out? And she was like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay. So yeah, coffee's delicious. Vibes are a little weird.
Oh, but then actually I went to a new coffee shop too this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Ocean Brew Co. in Ocean. It's the borderline of Ocean, Asbury, and Oakhurst. It's crazy.
Okay.
I didn't realize how close it was to everything. Because when you put it in, it comes up as Asbury, but it's not in Asbury. It's in Ocean. But I got the cookie butter latte, which was very, very delicious.
It looked so good.
Yeah, it was very good. So I'll definitely go back there.
Can't resist a cookie butter latte.
No, and Eric got a shaken iced tea lemonade.
Was that good too?
He really liked it a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
I love
it. And
that.
I got the cookie butter Pop-Tart, which was amazing.
I know. I need to go back there just to try that cookie butter Pop-Tart.
It was so good.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Okay. So, Blake Crouch. He graduated from UNC Chapel Hill with degrees in creative writing and English. He has a whole bunch of novels, 3 of which have been adapted to the screens. The Wayward Pines trilogy was made into a TV series released in 2015. Good Behavior was another TV series in November 2016. And Dark Matter, this book, was made into a TV series which released last year. And I haven't watched yet, but I do plan to after just reading this book, and it's on Apple TV.
I'm actually going to wait till Eric finishes the book because he's reading it now, because I think that we can watch the TV show together, because I think he'll probably like the TV show too.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So there's actually a little tea with Blake Crouch's family.
Oh.
And I'm only bringing this up because Crouch is on the right side of the T from what I can gather.
Great.
So he was married from 1998 to 2017, and he had 3 children with his ex-wife. And then in 2021, Crouch filed a court case because his wife refused to vaccinate their children based on religion.
Oh.
And yes, I read the notes from the court case because I fell down a rabbit hole, and they are accessible on the internet.
Of course you did.
So apparently Crouch was also an anti-vaxxer, but then when they were married, but then he realized that since he travels sometimes internationally for his job, that he would be exposing his children to like measles, among all these other illnesses,
Mm-hmm.
and that their world would be, quote, increasingly small if they didn't have the opportunity to travel based on their vaccination status.
Okay.
Okay. It's very, like, not acknowledging the exposing millions of other children. Anyway, okay. So from what I could find out, it was never fully resolved, but hopefully he won this before our current administration took over.
One would hope.
Isn't this so exciting though? I feel like we never have tea on our authors.
Yeah, that's insane.
I know.
It's
And
such like a interesting topic too, considering the current climate, political climate.
well, and the fact that they had to keep going back and forth because the court was asking him to explicitly prove that it was a danger to his children, and it's hard to do that. It's hard to prove a negative, like hard to prove something hasn't happened yet. So it just kept going back and forth and back and forth. And like this was in court for a while. And I still don't know if it's been resolved. Anyway, we're not here to gossip, even though I love to gossip.
XOXO Gossip Girl.
Don't even get me started on who Gossip Girl was. Anywho, so this book was released in 2016. And on Goodreads, Blake Crouch annotated a few of his favorite quotes from the book.
Oh.
Yeah, and then like added his little like reason for it, interpretation for it. So here's a couple that stuck out to me. He said, when I was writing Dark Matter, I was at a low point in my life. Much like the character of Jason Dessen, I was looking back at all the roads not taken and feeling envious of my younger self. I tried to channel that ennui into my protagonist. This was hands down the most personal thing I had ever written up to this point. That's right before his divorce.
I was just going to say 2016, 2017, I could see why he was in a bad place.
There's another part where he says, I want to expose and explore just how mysterious and beautiful our universe is and how reality is so much weirder than we think.
100%.
So, such a good point.
Yeah.
And then the last bit, so much of our identity is about cultural and lifestyle overlays. We're defined by our jobs, partners, where we live, what we believe. But removing all of that, is there something more fundamental that defines the nature of who we are? And we will get back to that.
Okay.
So let's dive into our story graph, who's it for? And you're in for a treat.
Let's hear it.
For readers who crave relentless, high-velocity thrillers obsessed with the terror of the roads not taken, identity, regret, and the price of second chances. Perfect if you want breakneck pacing, cinematic set pieces, and twist-stacked momentum over dense science, and you like your speculative tension punchy, sleek, and emotionally raw.
That sounds very highly inappropriate, that last part. But we're gonna let that one slide. But wow.
So many words.
So many word salad.
Word salad. And all correct words. But still too many of them. You know?
Way too many.
It's like someone who wrote a book and then just like used the thesaurus for every single word so it would make them sound smarter.
Yep.
That's what AI is doing. Anywho. Okay, so here's the book jacket summary. Are you happy with your life? Those are the last words.
Sorry.
Oh, God. Okay. We'll get back to that, Heather. Okay.
Go, continue.
I simply cannot. Okay. Those are the last words Jason Dessen hears before the masked abductor knocks him unconscious, before he awakens to find himself strapped to a gurney surrounded by strangers in hazmat suits, before a man Jason's never met smiles down at him and says, "Welcome back, my friend." In this world he's woken up to, Jason's life is not the one he knows. His wife is not his wife. His son was never born. And Jason is not an ordinary college physics professor. but a celebrated genius who has achieved something remarkable, something impossible. Is it this world or the other that's the dream? And even if the home he remembers is real, how can Jason possibly make it back to the family he loves? The answers lie in a journey more wondrous and horrifying than anything he could have imagined, one that will force him to confront the darkest parts of himself, even as he battles a terrifying, seemingly unbeatable foe.
Cinematic. Masterpiece.
Unbeatable foe. That's
What was it? Unbelievably raw? I don't remember what the last word of that.
punchy, sleek, and emotionally raw.
Emotionally raw. Okay.
Mm-hmm. This is not a romance, Heather.
You sure?
This is not a spicy book.
Storygraph is, kind of.
Yeah. They were feeling spicy today. Okay, so the dedication on the book is for anyone who has wondered what their life might look like at the end of the road not taken.
Yes, I remember reading that too.
And immediately I knew that we were in for it.
Mm-hmm.
So we start with Jason at home with his family, his wife Daniela, and his teenage son Charlie. And Daniela and Jason start talking about their past colleagues who have achieved great things. Mm-hmm. And you can tell that there's like a little bit of not jealousy, but like envy.
Yes.
So Jason goes out to a bar for a quick drink and is abducted at gunpoint and taken to some random building where he is drugged.
And like stripped naked.
Yeah, by someone in a geisha mask, which like, did we have to put that in there? Couldn't he have been wearing like an animal mask?
Yeah.
It felt oddly specific and racist. Anyway, so he wakes up in an airplane hangar. I don't know. They were explaining this and like describing the whole thing. And I was like, I don't know where the fuck we are. When they were going from like room to room before he had to do like his decontamination thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's with a bunch of people in hazmat suits and they have to decontaminate him. And he has no idea what the fuck is going on. Then they take him to an interview room where 20 people start cheering him on for whatever reason. And a woman starts interviewing him after telling him he's been gone for 14 months.
He's like, this is not my life.
Which is so crazy because, I mean, we'll get to it, but the fact that you just don't have any memories when you go into a new world doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So Jason is understandably freaking out. And he escapes and checks himself into the hospital and plays it all wrong. Like, he's honest with the doctors, which was a big no-no.
Too honest.
Yes. I liked how the book set up this ominous feeling right away because not only is Jason panicking, but the whole vibe is just off.
Yes.
Like, Leighton, the guy who woke him up, is a bipolar asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And he oscillates from threatening Jason and strapping him down to a bed to telling him he loved him and missed him.
Yeah, and it's just, I really appreciated the high stakes thriller chase.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was one of those ones where I was like, is he going to get caught? And what's going to happen if he gets caught? And he just keeps escaping at the right exact time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he definitely has luck on his side for a lot of this. So we start to get alternating chapters of Jason's new life and his life with Daniela. And can I say, if my husband was supposed to be gone for 45 minutes and instead came home 3 hours later after not responding to my calls or texts, I'm certainly not forgiving him within 2 minutes and taking him to our bedroom to fuck. Daniela girl.
Yeah.
But that's what happens to Jason's timeline with a new person who looks just like Jason.
Jason 2.0.
Exactly. So in the alternate reality, Jason tracks down Daniela and she's a successful artist, obviously not his wife or the mother of his child. And it seems like the change occurred back when Daniela told Jason that she was pregnant. And instead of deciding to start a family together, he decided to focus on his research and she seemingly had an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
And as Jason is trying to explain what is happening to Daniela, she doesn't get it, but she still wants to help. And so obviously they fuck. And then a man breaks into her apartment and shoots her square in the face.
That was shocking.
I did not see this coming.
That was a shock factor.
Especially because I didn't know what was coming. So I was just like, oh, so in the alternate reality, she is dead?
Yeah.
So that's obviously adding to the seriousness of whatever was happening in that lab. And it's so insanely traumatizing.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we find out that Jason was working on this invention which would allow us to explore the multiverse. So the idea is that at any given moment, infinite numbers of universes are existing because every choice or action has a different universe for each possible outcome.
Mm-hmm.
But our minds can't comprehend other universes because our brains limit our comprehension. Because how could you go through every day knowing all that information?
Mm-hmm.
Also, there's the idea that the way we choose with infinite possibilities, what happens in our universe is by observation and decision. So basically, in their cat example, a cat only dies because we make the conscious conclusion that a cat is dead. But there's an alternate reality with a living cat and another reality with no cat, but a mouse instead, and so on and so forth. So I did think that they did a good job of explaining this. I still was very confused.
But I think that's like the sci-fi science behind it, that's not something that we'll fully comprehend if we're not super science nerds.
But I thought that he did it in a way that still allowed us to be in it.
No, literally. I think that this book is like the perfect starting point if you want to read sci-fi but don't know where to begin.
Yeah. No, that's such a good point.
Because it wasn't overbearing and it made it interesting.
And especially if you like thrillers, because like you said, it has that thriller kind of like tone to it. But yeah, that's a really good point. So Jason invented this box, which would allow a human to switch to a different multiverse. And his friend Ryan designed the compound drug, which would allow our consciousness to be suspended in order to access these other universes. And he's so perplexed how he invented anything that could have ever been done, or he invented anything that could ever do what this box does.
Yeah.
But the way he frames it is like, there's probably a million universes where he never figured it out, but it only takes one where he does. And that like blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because like in an alternate reality, am I a fucking rocket scientist?
You could be.
I bet I am. No one can tell me I'm not.
Exactly.
So Jason gets himself into a real pickle with Leighton, and Amanda, who is his therapist in this reality, helps him escape, which is actually just them going into the box, and they get stuck in an infinity of multiverses.
Yeah, this was stressful.
This was so scary. They walk for hours, and they just keep saying door after door after door. So they have a limited number of vials with the drug that will allow them to access other universes. So they start to experiment with opening different doors in the box. And for the most part, it doesn't go well.
No, there were so many dystopian worlds. And it's like kind of like crazy because it's believable that, you know, you could live in, like, there's so many universes that could be that dystopian. It's not far off.
Yeah, because the point was that they weren't creating imaginary universes. These were all real possibilities that could be happening at the same exact time based on different things that happened in the past. And we do find out that they have control, some level of control over the universes when they open the door. So because they're escaping and freaking out and having all these fears, every door they're opening is on a dystopian, like there's one where the entire world is just covered in ash.
I think the one that fucked me up the most was when everyone was sick and you had to like mark your windows with either, what was it, black if there was like a dead body, red if someone needed medical attention or something. And he just goes to the door and Danielle is like, you died. What are you doing here? And she was like, Charlie's upstairs dead.
And like his body is dying upstairs.
And then Amanda's like, you can't touch her because you even though we're in like this universe, you can still you're not guaranteed your life. So that one was like, that one took me out.
Yeah. And he doesn't listen to Amanda. We'll get
No,
into
not
it.
at all. But he's a man.
Seriously. He's such a fucker. Anyway, so when they realize that they have some semblance of control, they decide that they need to figure out how they can find their way back home to Jason's original reality. And we find out that brilliant Jason, or Jason 2, as he's referred to, did this on purpose to switch lives with regular Jason, which is why he was questioning regular Jason on the night he abducted and drugged him. So asking, like, do you ever call Daniela Danny? Like random questions like that. Brilliant Jason was obsessed with the path not taken, and he wanted to see what his life would be like if he was truly happy.
Yeah.
Because he had accomplished everything he ever wanted to accomplish. He made this insane invention that would change the entire world. He had been recognized for all these things, and he was highly regarded, but he wasn't actually happy.
Mm-hmm.
And he realized like that he was missing out on things that could have made him truly happy.
Mm-hmm.
So Amanda and Jason start trying to recreate Jason's home life, and they get closer and closer, but every time they go to a new world, something is off. And Amanda's very concerned about the toll this is taking on Jason's mind.
Mm-hmm.
And especially after, like you said, seeing Daniela dying in one universe, and not just dying, but dying extremely painfully, knowing that their son died. He basically shoots her up with morphine so that she can like go peacefully. He also sees Daniela happy with a different Jason in another universe, and plenty of other scenarios of them not being together or being unfaithful or just being generally unhappy. Like he is seeing something traumatic over and over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, of course, his mind is being fucked up. And
100%.
every door that he goes through is one more vial that's gone and one more like strike against them that he might never get back home. So all the while, Jason is a real dick to Amanda. He goes off wandering on his own, doesn't come back when he says he will. He spends their limited money. He makes her think on several occasions that he just up and left her.
Yeah.
He doesn't come back when he said he was going to. But also they have this sexual tension, which in my mind is completely understandable because they're going through something so dramatic and intense. And it's something that's so isolating. So of course they're going to trauma bond to each other. But what did you think about the sexual tension element?
Just because we already have this weird dichotomy of, you know, Jason 2 sleeping with current Daniela, and then Jason 1 sleeping with Daniela 2.0, and now you're just going to introduce this other sexual relationship. So it didn't, I mean, I understand it. I understand why it was put in, but for me personally, I was just kind of like, I don't think it needs to be taken to like a sexual level. I think it could have been taken to an emotional level, but I don't think it should have been like, oh, I'm like falling in lust with you now because we're traveling all these universes when in reality these universes are fucked up. So why does that make you want to have sex?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think it didn't have to be sexual. It could have even been a connection thing.
Or just like you said, like trauma bonding.
Yeah, like them hugging, them cuddling, like them needing that closeness.
That I agree with. I would be okay with that.
Yes, but on the other hand, I'm happy that it didn't actually go any farther.
Me too.
And that they just left it at this. So it's like, okay, if you had to put it in there, I'm like, it would have pissed me off.
Yeah, like I'm glad that he made Jason have like that little ounce of self-control.
Yeah, because like the entire point of this story is that he loves Daniela so much that he would kill to get back to her.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, oh, but real quick, my dick is hard.
Exactly.
So yeah, I totally get why they were having this closeness, but it didn't have to be sexual. Okay, so finally Amanda has had enough of his shit. And leaves him on his own with half the money, half the vials, and a goodbye note basically telling him she can't watch him do this to himself anymore. And also she knows that her presence is affecting his process.
Mm-hmm.
And so they both need to move forward alone.
And that's a therapist for you.
Right? I was shocked that she ended up leaving. I didn't see that coming.
I actually didn't either. I was almost wondering if it would have taken a turn where they would just have to, they would end up in a universe. I almost wondered what would happen if they ended up in the current universe together and how that would like affect his relationship with Daniela and everything. But I didn't expect her to just like up and leave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm glad she did.
No, me too.
So he finally makes it back to his Chicago with one vial left. Now he just has to figure out how to get rid of the new Jason, who is taking his life. He has plans to buy a gun, dig a hole in some forest, and bury him. But when he goes to buy the gun, the woman working says that he's been in 5 times already this week asking for the same thing.
This was insane. This is like where I think like the quantum part of it really like kicks in.
Mm-hmm. This is where I was like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So somehow he knows to go to some chat room. And there are at least 13 other Jasons who are discussing how they had the same exact plan.
Yeah.
So this opens up this huge black hole of possibilities because the more Jasons he discovers, who's to say who deserves the life they're all fighting for?
Yeah.
And he says, like, none of these Jasons are the real Jason because they're all pieces of a composite.
Mm-hmm.
They are all part of the Jason. So in that respect, one isn't more deserving than the others.
Yeah.
So our Jason finally has the idea that the only way to think ahead of the other Jasons is to do something completely random that normal Jason would never do.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets arrested by smoking a cigar in a diner. Which, like, this is the best thing you could think of.
Mm-hmm.
I would have done something so much more fun. But anyway, he uses his one phone call to call Daniela to come and bail him out. And she's pissed. So Jason explains to Daniela and Charlie what's going on. And somehow they believe him because of how different
That's what I was
been.
going to. Yeah, I think that I would probably. It puts you in that scenario of, is this really happening? It probably could be because of how different things have been since the night you went to go to that bar and came home 3 hours late.
Yes, and that's obviously the only thing that fully convinces them, but it's still just so unbelievable because even Jason, who has this brilliant mind that did invent this box, can't comprehend it until he sees it himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like they have got to be skeptical.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So they run off to a cabin to figure out their next move, and original Jason has the completely idiotic idea to do a lottery with the other now 72 Jasons.
They just keep multiplying.
They keep multiplying. But luckily we don't have to go down that dumb path because Charlie's a teenager and he simply cannot keep his phone turned off.
No, of course not.
Fucking Charlie. So a bunch of other Jasons come to the cabin, including first replacement Jason, and original Jason kills him. Mm-hmm. But in front of Daniela and Charlie, so fucking traumatic.
Yeah.
We need to call Amanda because they all need therapy. But anyway, before he kills him, we get a speech from replacement Jason basically telling us that he's so brilliant that it clouded his judgment because he justifies doing what he did because he gave original Jason the success that he always missed out on. Mm-hmm. And so he was missing the point of what the life with Daniela really meant.
Exactly.
And he was just kind of like, dude, I gave you everything you could have ever wanted. Like, why aren't you happy? And it's like, Jason, you weren't happy when you were in that life either.
What makes you think this Jason's going to be happy?
Yeah.
And like you took a seemingly content dude from his life thinking that you were giving him a better life when that wasn't what he wanted at all.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that you bring up because when Jason 2 abducted Jason 1 and they're in the car and he asks him, like, are you happy? Would you change anything about your life?
Mm-hmm.
And Jason 1 is like, no. So that was the last confirmation that Jason 2 needed to be like, oh, I need to go check out this life. But he must have still subconsciously not believed him,
mm-hmm.
because he was like, yeah, but you haven't seen what the other life is.
Exactly. You haven't seen what the other side looks like.
Mm-hmm. And like all of that success that you knew you could have had.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what it was like when we actually got it. So replacement Jason had extra syringes. So they make their way to the box where they see 50 other Jasons who sadly, but very quickly agree to let them go. Because it's Daniela and Charlie's choice.
Yeah.
I still didn't love it.
I didn't either, just because I feel like there was such an aggressive nature to these alternate Jasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that I can understand that all they want is for Daniela and Charlie to be happy. So I guess they'll agree with her choice, but it still kind of felt a little off the mark a little bit.
Yeah. So they go into the box and they're like, we got to do something that all these Jasons wouldn't catch on to. So Charlie picks the next door they go through.
I liked that.
I did too, but we'll get back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's discuss. Okay, so first off, here's a quote that I need to read.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying when you consider that every thought we have, every choice we could possibly make branches into a new world.
Mm-hmm.
This entire thought scares the shit out of me.
Me too.
Because it's so overwhelming to comprehend that, like, even if I didn't have coffee this morning, there's an alternate universe that did have coffee this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a completely different life.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, everyone always says, like, no regrets. But it's like, if you stop and think about, like, every single decision that you made that you struggled over or that you thought about, there's an alternate universe where you made the different choice.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's not just two choices. Sometimes it's 20 choices that you're picking between.
Yes.
Here's another quote where Jason asks himself, if you strip away all the trappings of personality and lifestyle, what are the core components that make me me? So what do you think defines you? Is it your job, your relationships, your interests, your behavior? Or is there something just completely innate?
I think it's like who you are, like complexity wise, like who you are built, like I guess you could say like personality wise and behavior wise. I think those two, because like, you know, I feel we are who we are because we're built that way from experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have multiple reactions to the same experience. So I think that we are who we are because we reacted a certain way to a certain thing that happened to us. And we either went down a good path, we went down a bad path, we went down a path we regret, etc., etc. And I think you just continue to build off of that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But I think that still is so shaped by our environment. So like we all have specific traits or characteristics which are influenced by genetics or our star signs. And the way in which we exhibit those traits relies heavily on our environment. So if you're an extremely driven and determined person, that might mean dragging yourself out of poverty and starting your own construction business. But if you were born into a family of wealth, it might mean you went to an Ivy League school and became a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we have those innate traits and characteristics, but it's impossible to have any semblance of being without an environment around you to shape it, without relationships and interests and, you know what I mean? Like, because all of those things affect our behaviors.
Yeah. And I feel like it doesn't take much to alter your brain chemistry.
Mm-hmm. So, whose life would you prefer, original Jason or first imposter Jason?
I think original.
Yeah, I think for the obvious reasons, like he had love in his life and
Yeah.
relationships, but also everyone said that first imposter Jason was a real asshole.
Well, yeah, and I think that in original Jason's life, it's more realistic because in his relationship with Daniela, they both made sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
And that is like what life is
Mm-hmm.
making sacrifices. Whereas imposter Jason was just purely selfish
Mm-hmm.
and only thought about himself and didn't care about other people realistically. So it's, do you want to live a life where, you know, everything might not be perfect, but you're in a pretty much decent relationship with your life? Or do you want to be in a situation where everything is perfect, but you're unhappy because everything is perfect?
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And also, just because you can invent something doesn't mean you should.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like Pandora's box, you
Yeah, like
know?
this is a horrible invention,
Yeah.
okay? I don't want.
I
It's
mean,
like
it's
the
like,
Midnight Library.
yeah, or like the measure where you can figure out when you're going to die. Like, do you want to know when your life is going to end? And so it's just,
Do you want to know what could have been?
it's one of these situations, yeah, that makes you like have like the existential crisis of, all right, well, maybe I should be doing X, Y, and Z different so that I don't have to like sit in this like dread. But,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
But we don't have this magic box. What do you think happened to Amanda?
I think she found that the next place she went, she just stayed and began a new life.
Okay, but how do they begin a new life? Because she has
I mean, why can't
no
she?
ID, no
Yeah,
money. This was like, this was a part that didn't make sense to me. And I know that that's because like this was a new invention that they were just testing out. But it's like, how would you go into a new world and start a new life? Because the only way to do so is to find yourself in that world
mm-hmm.
and kill yourself to replace them.
Yeah, or I guess just recreate yourself.
But how do you recreate yourself at however 30 years old with nowhere to live, no job, no history, no memories? Like it just seems so.
I mean, but I guess you could use that as an excuse. You can go to a hospital and be like, I don't know who I am. I had amnesia. And then you just like create this new life.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, listen, there's no actual answer, and we're never going
Mm-hmm.
to know because that's never actually going to happen. So it's kind of just all hypotheticals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We already talked about out of the different universes, which was the scariest. I agree. The one with the
Oh
flesh
yeah.
eating
Mm-hmm.
disease. Absolutely. And
Because that is so plausible. Like they're all plausible, but this is the one that like sent me because I'm like, this, we already had a pandemic.
yeah. And the part that really sent me was that the police were going to shoot him down in the
Yeah.
middle of the street for leaving his home.
Yeah. Like,
And I was like, oh, that's literally happening right now.
yeah.
ICE is
Mhm.
shooting people down in the streets.
Yeah. So it's
So I was like,
a little
oh,
uncomfy.
yeah, hated that.
Mhm.
For the most exciting, I would say definitely the one with the fancy trains.
Oh yes.
That was
Yes.
cool. Where
Yeah.
you just like,
Yeah. It was
just
like a
straps you in
ride.
like a roller coaster.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that one.
It was
I,
like the
oh,
Jetsons, like
yeah.
flying cars and like that shit was cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you believe in the concept of the multiverse?
I could believe it in the sense that it would be so interesting to see what other versions of me there are out there and what they
Mm-hmm.
did. I don't know if it's necessarily like possible realistically, but I would like to believe that it could be.
Yeah, I think I'm of the mind that nothing is impossible. I
Agreed.
mean, Christians believe that like God is just like up there, just like
Mm-hmm.
watching over us. So like, okay. But I think it kind of gets into the question of free will
Yeah.
versus destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously your free will is what's creating all these different universes, but what about people who do believe in destiny and that you're always going to end up where you end up. How you get there might be maybe different.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about that before, like the whole butterfly effect. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it was still going to happen regardless. It was just a bird instead of a butterfly or something.
Yeah.
But I think that is what makes this concept, like, if you believe in destiny, you can't believe in these multiverses. You know?
That's a good point.
I'm not saying I believe in destiny because I don't know. I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't think it's impossible, but I do think that our tiny human brains could never comprehend something like this.
Like, that's the thing. I think that science is so much more intense than we could ever give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, the fact that we're on a planet in a world that has so many other planets and like black holes and like other dimensions, who's to say that there's not another planet that has an exact copy of every single human on this planet just living different lives?
Mm-hmm. This is so funny because I was talking to two of our friends at book club about this, about how, like, I believe that there is something after death. And they were both like, oh no, like, because I'm very like science based. And I was like, yeah, but that doesn't eliminate anything. Like, science is so much bigger than we even understand. And like, you have to remember that scientists who are studying science are limited by the same brains that we have. So it's like, there's no way that we are the only and highest life form.
No, there's no way.
And there's no way that this shitty ass life is it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if it is, I don't want to know.
Like, there's definitely other life forms. We just don't know what they are or what they are. I mean, you know, they could be versions of us, but they're animals, and everyone's a talking animal. Like,
or the typical alien with green skin, but they're just like us with green skin.
Yeah.
Maybe everyone is green and there's no racism.
Ooh, a concept.
A crazy concept. Yeah, I just think there's no way.
And like, you know, and it's like, I think it's unfair to take that belief away from somebody too, especially like being us as readers. Like, we immerse ourselves in stories every day that aren't real, but we enjoy them. People who read sci-fi and who read fantasy, they get lost in these worlds that aren't necessarily real in this universe. Doesn't mean they're not real in another universe. Doesn't mean that there's not fairies and gods and goddesses. Like, you have the Greek mythology. Like, if you look at the Greek mythology storyline, you know, there was a time where that universe existed, because how else would you even know about it?
And that's a good point, because people who are creating these stories, who's to say that the reason that thought came into their mind isn't because that thought is real and going on in a separate universe, or went on in their past life or something.
That's what I'm saying, because
it's like deja vu.
That's what I was just going to say. Where are these, you know, someone is coming up with these super creative ideas. And, you know, I experience deja vu on the regular. Like, it's actually wild how much I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu. And it's happening more and more as I'm getting older, because I'm experiencing more in my life. So it's just, you know, it's possible. Yes.
And apparently not everyone does. Because, like, I also experience it a lot. And I'll say, like, when I'm with my mom and my sister, like, oh, I just had deja vu again. They're like, really? Like, I never have it.
Oh, I have it all the time.
And I'm like, I feel like that means that, like, your mind is too limited. And, like, they're both not open-minded. So what does that mean? I also, if I found out that our entire universe or our entire life was a simulation, I would be 0% surprised.
Also, same.
So, you never see your neighbors bringing in the groceries. Anyway, okay. So, if you had to choose What do you think is the moment in your life that you flag as the most pivotal? So, like Jason's decision to stay with Daniela and have Charlie.
Oh, that's a big fucking question.
I'll go first if you want.
Yeah, go ahead, but I have mine as well.
Okay. Well, I had an abortion. So obviously that was very monumental. And not only because I don't want to be a mother, but because the person that I was with was like abusive and like a very horrible person. So the fact that I would have tied myself to that person for ever, that was like, I mean, there's so many other times that I can remember like my personality changing, like, you know, when I like gave up religion or like when I, you know, went away to college, like all these things. But that's the most significantly life altering decision that I made, because I can clearly see how my life would have been so different. Like if I had a 13-year-old child now.
Mm-hmm.
So glad I went through with that one. Anyway, what's yours?
What would have happened if I had never caught my dad cheating? Because, like, I was the one that found out, and I was the one that told my mom. So I'm the one that blew up I didn't blow up my family. Not in that sense.
He blew up as your family.
But
yes.
I'm like the one that was the catalyst that like set off the bomb. And wow. I don't even know. I think my parents eventually would have separated anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. My dad is very much like, probably would have stayed just because it would have been the easier decision. But my life,
your mom too.
My life would look exponentially different if I did not find out about like the cheating or like made the decision to tell my mom.
That's a big one. And that's so many different decisions even in itself.
Oh my God. I can't even, like, I can't,
like,
you know, because it is funny. It's like, it's actually like so random that you even brought this up, because on my drive home today, I like just had like my music on shuffle, and You're on Your Own Kid came on by Taylor Swift. And I've already like was in my feels today, but I got like super emotional like listening to that song, because there's just been like so much going on in my life recently, and I'm just like, wow, like I'm really alone in growing up. Like I really was alone. And I like didn't, sometimes like you don't realize it. People always say it to me, but then there's these moments in time where like you're hit with it and you're like, no, wow, like I really did fucking raise myself by myself.
Well, yeah, because you can't constantly be thinking about it. You wouldn't be able to have a life. Like even that's why, you know, when someone says like, oh, Heather, what about your family? And like you and I both start laughing. It's because like, what else can you do? You know, like,
yeah.
But there's some times when you just have to feel it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so crazy, because then like even the decision of like how you told her, when you told her, the words you used to tell her, like everything is so many millions and millions of decisions.
Yeah.
And I am getting overwhelmed.
I actually can't even think about it. I really can't. I never would have met Eric.
No.
No way in hell would I have ever met Eric.
I never would have dated my Eric. And like, that's not still going on, but it lasted for almost 12 years.
It was still a monumental part of your life.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, because it made you into who you are today.
Exactly.
And, which in retrospect was obviously a completely different trajectory of life than it would have been had you kept your baby and became a mom, which wasn't something you wanted, so you would have been miserable anyways. And then, like you said, you're tied to an abusive person, and not for nothing, you know, there's that kind of like terrible thought of, do I want to bring this terrible person's spawn into the world? Because even though there's parts of me in them, that doesn't mean that the negative parts of the person that I procreated them with aren't going to overbear what I could give to my child.
Which brings up a whole other point that we shouldn't get into, but I'm going to say it. When The fucking pro-life people are like, oh, I don't care if you got raped. You have to keep your rapist baby.
Mm-mm.
So every day for the rest of your life, you have to look at this child and wrestle with the fact that you love them so fucking much, but they share half the DNA of a monster.
And also, you have to look at it from that child's perspective when they get older. How do you think they're going to take it knowing that they're the product of a really violent act?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so there's so many different ways to look at it. And the fact that you can sit there and be like, you have to just deal with it. Like, that's not okay.
Okay, we got off topic a little bit, but let's lighten it up a little bit. Okay, what kind of world do you think they entered at the end with Charlie choosing?
Oh my God. I like envisioned this almost like utopia.
Okay.
You know, I think that's a totally new world that they're entering into. Like nothing like something they've ever been in before.
I definitely think that's what he was going for, and I agree that's probably where they did end up. But I think these two are idiots for letting a 15-year-old boy choose their future. They could walk into a Call of Duty scene.
That's what I know. That's another thing too. But I think that if you look at it from like a teen brain, I think that that's kind of like you're going to enter into an unknown world that's different from what you want because you're bored and you want to enter into something that's new and fun. So I definitely think it's like a total utopia.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're kind of fuzzy on the details of how you choose a different universe, but with Charlie choosing, does that mean he's choosing an alternate universe where he made a different decision? Because that's only 15 years of decisions. Less than that, because you don't make decisions when you're a baby. I don't know. There's mechanics of it that we don't fully understand, obviously.
No. I think that how I would look at it if I were Charlie in this position, which obviously being 36 compared to 15, my mind works a little differently. But I would hope that he would think of, we're finally all together again. And I want us to like create this new world together away from all this fucking madness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Imagine how different Jason would be in Charlie's ideal world. But it was really sweet that at the end, Charlie was like, because even though Jason could tell that replacement Jason was like more engaged as a father, Charlie was like, he's not my dad.
Yeah, like he could tell that while it was Jason in the flesh, it wasn't the Jason that Charlie knew and loved. It was kind of like a carbon copy.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
With very minute differences, but differences that still existed. And so the fact you have to like hand it to Charlie for being, you know, emotionally and mentally aware that there was something off with his dad. Because I feel like what 15-year-old boy is going to know that their parents are different? They don't give a fuck about their parents at 15.
Yeah, and I think that's why even in the beginning, in that very short scene, we do get the idea that they are a close family. And even though Charlie is a typical teenager, he is still eating dinner with them, engaging with them. Like he's still
artistic.
Semi-aware. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it was very important for them to put that scene at the beginning because otherwise, like, of course, Charlie wouldn't give a fuck, you know? Yeah. All right. So my last question. In this situation, can you ever truly return home?
No, because then there's too much has changed. You've experienced too much to ever go back to normalcy, which is why they had to leave. Them leaving made the absolute most sense to me because how can you live in that world seeing all the murder that you did by your own hand and then knowing that you're just constantly going to be watched now because Jason 2.0 literally opened Pandora's box.
Yeah, I think that is the worst part of this book is that you can't ever truly return home because like Jason's mind is changed based on this knowledge of the multiverses, but also of the things that he's seen, of the different places he's seen. Yeah. His relationship with Daniela and Charlie is forever changed and they'll never be able to look at him the same and vice versa. So it's kind of like, he did all of that to find his way back, and he suffered so much to find his way back. And then you're right, the only option was to move forward the three of them together.
Yeah, because even though he found his way back, it doesn't mean that things are okay.
Because it wasn't their home anymore. Because now there's
it's tainted.
87 Jasons running around.
Exactly.
167 Jasons running around.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to discuss before we get to our ratings?
No.
So our rating scale is replacement Jasons. How many replacement Jasons did you give this?
This was my first 5-star read of 2026.
I love that. I love that so much.
And my only one so far out of 5 books.
It's only January 19th. That's okay. That's all right. We've got time.
No, that's not a bad thing. I just usually am surprised because I feel like I'm always giving books the...
Yeah, but you said this year you're gonna be stricter about your 5 stars.
Yeah, no, because I literally devoured this book. Like, I stayed up late one night because I had to finish it. Mm-hmm. And I finished it, and Eric was here on the computer, and I was just like, holy shit. I was like, this is one of the best books I've ever read. And I was like, didn't think I was a sci-fi girly. I think I am now.
100%. I want to read his other books.
No,
so much.
Yeah.
I gave it 4.5 replacement Jasons only because I didn't love the ending. I thought it didn't fit with the rest of the book, and I felt like I loved the thriller element of not knowing what was going to happen next. But then once we get to the end, it's there's so many times we have to suspend our disbelief just to kind of go with the story.
Yeah.
But the existential crisis rating is a 5 because this is exactly the kind of book that we talk about that we like to read every so often, that really puts things into perspective and gets our wheels turning, gets us thinking. I also flew through this. I couldn't believe how quickly I read through a book that had all this science speak and stuff.
I agree.
So I'm really happy we read it, and I really, like we said, I really liked how the science part felt digestible. Mm-hmm. Because that's what I was concerned about, obviously.
Yeah, because I feel like you hear sci-fi and you immediately kind of get worried because as someone that doesn't read that genre, I can imagine how challenging and scary it is. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know what to expect going into it.
Yeah, and I read some forms of sci-fi, but when it's sci-fi horror, it's much different because there's a lot less of the science part. And because they're focusing on the horror part. You know what I mean?
Because I read a lot of fantasy, but that's also different. Sci-fi is really smart.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm super excited to watch this. And then Wayward Pines, I don't think is similar to this, but it's obviously the one that was first made into a TV series. And this creator that I love on TikTok, Sydney Books, she just read the Wayward Pines series and she loved it. And that's more thriller-esque.
Okay.
So I definitely want to start that trilogy. So yeah, look at us. We found another author.
Another male author.
Ugh. That's because the reason that we were okay with this is because he was writing a male main character.
Also true.
And, we really could have gotten into maybe that's why Amanda couldn't keep her pants on because this was a man writing it. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. We got into enough. Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, I believe we covered it all.
Well, that's all we have for you today. If you like what you heard, please make sure to follow, subscribe, and rate and review the podcast on whatever platform you're using. If you have any book recommendations or questions for us, you can email us at fullybookedcalfpod@gmail.com. Also, be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at fullybookedcalfpod to see our upcoming reads. Thanks for checking us out, and remember,
if you need us, we're fully booked.
Bye.
Bye.